There's a growing number of young guys experiencing erection problems. Is that true? And if it is, why? What's going on? That's exactly what I'm going to be uncovering in this video today. If you are a young guy and you're experiencing erection problems, you're in the right place. In this video, I'm going to uncover exactly what is going on and to share 3 tips of how you can stop and reverse erection problems. I'm Shay, I'm a men's coach. I help men to overcome erection problems in bed and get back to feeling confident in sex and normal again. If you find this video helpful, in the bottom right hand corner, you'll see a button that says subscribe. Click on that button so that you can get the latest brand new videos and tools as I share them. I'm going to break this video down into 3 areas. The first is, what is the data saying? Second is, what is my experience personally and from the conversations that I've had with hundreds of guys around the world on this very topic. And number 3, I'm going to be sharing 3 tips, things that you can do right now to reverse and stop this happening. So let's start with the data. What is that saying? Well, there was a recent study done by the Journal of Sex Medicine, and it found that 26% of men under the age of 40 are now experiencing erection challenges. 26% may not sound like a lot, but in the previous study that was done, it was between 5 to 10%. 5 to 10%. So that is a huge increase from 5 to 10% to 26%. Now, if you're watching this and you're well below the age of 40, perhaps you're in your teenage years or early 20s, this study absolutely applies to you. There's just not much that's been done in terms of fact studies at younger ages. But stick with me because this is really important. So that's the first thing. There's been a massive increase from 5 to 10% to 26%. Another study that was done found that 1 in 4 men who ask for help when it comes to erection challenges are now under the age of 40. This kind of thing in the past just wasn't happening. For most people, it was guys that were in their 60s, 70s, perhaps 50s, but this wasn't happening below 40s. So this is more of a recent occurrence that is absolutely growing. There are the obvious factors, and the data often talks about this. Things like lifestyle, am I drinking, am I smoking, am I eating the wrong kind of nutrition, stress, anxiety. Okay, so we hear that it's quite generic advice. So the next bit I'm going to be getting into now is, what do I actually hear and see as the most common causes and reasons of mindset erection problems from the guys that I speak with that have ranged all the way really from 17 up to 70. This advice I've consolidated down to what I hear the most from young guys, okay, to make it specific for this video. So I'm going to share with you the 3 P's. The 3 P's. These are the things that I hear come up the most often for young guys experiencing erection problems. First one, porn. Okay, there's going to be absolutely no surprises here. It's probably what you've seen the most on videos and information on the internet, but porn plays a significant factor in erection challenges for young guys. Not enough is spoken about when it comes to this. I think there needs to be more taught in schools, but ultimately we can only take responsibility for our own lives. So shortly I'm going to be sharing some helpful resources if you found that porn has been a challenge. Okay, second is past experiences. Past experiences when it comes to sex where it didn't go to plan. Whether this is losing your virginity and you felt really nervous the first time, it wasn't really with someone where there was a great connection there, or whether it was you got really drunk, there was some kind of experience or a bad experience where you felt pressured by friends, whatever it may be, where things didn't go to plan, and that has felt like it stayed stuck in your mind. It still feels very intense. When we think about it, it feels like it was yesterday. We can still feel the intensity in the body. So a negative past experience when it comes to sex is the second P of what I hear comes up most regularly with younger guys experiencing erection problems. And the third P is pressure. Pressure, but not related to sex actually, from a younger age. So this could be to do with things like academics, sports, pressure from teachers, pressure in learning environments or from parents. This is also part of the picture. Okay, it's not to blame what's happened on our past. Again, similar for porn, we are now responsible for this as an adult and what we do about it. But it would be crazy of me to ignore this factor because of how often it comes up. So these are the 3 P's that I hear come up the most often in young guys when it comes to erection challenges. So what do we do about this? This is the most important part that we're now at. The first one being obvious is to reduce, ideally eliminate watching porn. We don't need it, it's not any good for us. It's easier said than done. Okay, so a couple of resources that I found very helpful on my journey. One was a book called Your Brain on Porn by a guy called Gary Wilson. Second is a podcast called The Easy Peasy Method that you can find on YouTube. The Easy Peasy Method, or type it into Google. The second tip is to speak to somebody who gets this. Okay, to speak to somebody if you are experiencing erection challenges as a young guy. You do not need to try and navigate this alone. You do not need to think that this is how it's going to be for the rest of your life. It can feel scary, it can feel embarrassing, it can feel uncomfortable. I get it personally. So speaking to someone who has been there, who has gone through it, this in itself relieves pressure and doesn't keep it all as on our own shoulders, something that I must deal with myself. So find somebody, whether that is reaching out to me, whether it's reaching out to another coach, to a therapist, to a doctor, but just somebody who ideally gets it and who has been through it, so that they can share the steps of what to do to get this sorted. Third, and this is really important, is to not blame yourself. Is to not blame yourself for this and to not get stuck in the trap of thinking, what's wrong with me? I've got a problem. This is a very easy place to stay stuck. And what happens is we can stay stuck researching endless videos, countless information online, feeling bad at ourselves, stacking up the stress, stacking up the pressure, blaming ourselves, and feeling like nobody will ever want me. Do not stay stuck in that place. Staying stuck is a protection mechanism. It's understandable. We're doing it because we feel extremely vulnerable. And so what we're trying to do is put this barrier up to, at least if I stay here, I know how that feels. If I go out, if I speak to somebody else about this, what if people laugh at me? What if people find out? There's all of these fears that are understandable, but it keeps us stuck. It keeps us from getting the result that you want and that you deserve. Finally, I'd like to invite you to take the E.D Quiz. If you are a young guy experiencing erection problems, we spoke about speaking to someone who gets it. I've put together a quiz. It's a private quiz, it's free. And this will show you the 6 different reasons that cause erection problems and what's going on for you personally so that you can get to the bottom of this and get it sorted. If that sounds good to you, in the comments below, you'll see a link to the E.D Quiz. Click on that link. It will take you straight to the page where you can answer the 10 yes or no free questions. You will then see your personal score. I look forward to seeing you at the quiz.